Very good. And certificates are given out, so you don't have to worry. Now, in less than 10 minutes, tell us who you are. Walk us through the journey of your life up to today in less than 10 minutes.
Okay. Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the opportunity to appear in this honorable committee. My name is Nderitu. I was born and bred in Nyandarua County in a place called Oljororok, where the honorable member come from. And I went to school within Nyandarua County. And then after that, primary school, in a primary school called Weru Secondary. Then I went to Wajohi Girls. Then after that, I went to Moi University to take a degree in education. I did a bachelor's of education, specifically in literature and English. After that, I started my teaching career in Muranga. I taught for about 2 years. Then after that, I applied to join education administration.
As names of these places where you know, people are watching you.
Yeah.
And when you say you taught at Kahuya Girls or one of those great schools in Muranga, they feel extremely good. Tell us, in Muranga, where did you teach?
I taught in a high school called Mudhithi Secondary School in Marangwa constituency. After that, after teaching for 2 years, I applied for a job in the Ministry of Education. After that, after teaching for 2 years, I applied for a job in the Ministry of Education to work now as in education administration. My reason for applying after those 2 years, I felt that I would do more contribution in leadership in education. And after the application, I was actually given a job as an inspector of schools. I started my inspection of schools journey from Jogo House, later posted to Kiambu County, the Raja Kiambu County then. And in the process, I got promoted. I was posted to Kiambu West, which its headquarters was in Limuru. At Limuru, I worked as an area education officer, and then also as a district quality assurance and standard officer. Then within the district, within that particular year, I was also promoted again to become a district education officer, which I worked briefly in Limuru, and then I was later posted to Ukabani, Makueni, specifically in Boni constituency, and Bubuni was the center where I went to start a new district. After working as a district education officer, maybe to bring where I am today, when I was working in Limuru as a district education officer and quality assurance, that is when 2007 post-election violence happened, and I had the responsibility of, together with other leaders in the district, we had the responsibility of settling the people who came from other areas where the violence had happened to centers within Limuru. One of the centers was called Kiradimo, and we had to start as the education. We had to start the centers for how to take care of the children, and I saw children who came without their mothers. Others did not know where their parents were or the siblings. I saw mothers who never knew where the children were. I saw people who really were desperate, others were wounded. I saw mothers also going through labor within the center and all that. And I think that is the first point it awakened me that there's something called elections, and elections can be managed. And it aroused my interest from that day. And I said, one day, I was a young girl. And that day I said, one day I will run elections. And in 2009, I saw the advertisement of the IEBC then, which was the interim elections, and IEBC, Independent Electoral Commission. Yeah, that's when I threw in my application. Then I was a DO in Ukabani, and by God's grace, I got an opportunity to be hired by that particular institution. Then I worked there in the IEBC for the 2 years, and then we were later absorbed by IEBC when the IEBC was now formed.
What were you hired as?
I was hired as my first hiring at IEBC was manager partnerships. I was in charge of stakeholder engagement, resource mobilization, donor engagement, and generally special interest groups. So I worked there for about 5 years in that docket. Later, I also acted as the director of voter education and partnerships for also another 2 years. And later, after that, I went to head electoral training, now in the operations docket. So I also worked another 4 or so years in that particular training docket. So in total, I worked in IEBC for 9 years. After that, an opportunity arose at the Office of Registrar of Political Parties, and government then was looking for someone to go and sit in an acting capacity as they recruited the Registrar of Political Parties. The then IEBC chair, Wafula Chebukati, seconded me to go, of course, with the consultation with government, to go and act as the Registrar of Political Parties, awaiting the recruitment. That was 2018. Later, which was supposed to be acting for 6 months, later turned out to be almost 2 years, which I acted, and later the position was advertised. In the year 2020, I applied, and the rest is history, because now I was confirmed as the Registrar of Political Parties. So in total, Chair, I've been working as the Registrar of Political Parties for a period of 7 years. And it has been a long and bumpy, sometimes a bumpy journey. But through it all, I've seen the institution grow from what I met as about 46 staff to now around 120 staff. We have 12 offices established in the counties. At the Office of Registrar of Political Parties, I've also established systems. One of it is the digitalization of all the processes, including membership recruitment and ensuring that Kenyans are recruited in parties they actually would want to belong. So one of the major issues was fixing systems and making the institution work. We have also had legal review and legal reform. And also at the OLPP, I'm also the accounting officer and the authorized officer. And Chair, I can report that for the last 6 years I've been at that docket. I've had clean audit reports, and clean I mean without qualified opinion. Of course, there are some issues that I usually come to respond to, as it is the practice, but at least we have had without qualified opinion. Chair, in terms of election capacity and what I've done at IEBC, I worked to develop the training manuals that are used up to date, more than 16 of them. I was leading a team that developed those training materials, and they are used up to date, and you can see the many of them. At OLPP, I've also developed similar training materials and information books and policies that allow the institution to run. Chair, I can also confirm when I was working at IEBC and the partnership department, I also developed policies and also frameworks for engaging partners, and also developed policies on how to engage the special interest groups. I'm also an accomplished bridge trainer, which is a training which is one of the highest accrediting training that you can have in the electoral space. Apart from holding the degree in education, in literature, I also hold a master's degree in linguistics, and also hold a diploma in administration. I also hold other certificates. I've been trained in elections in India for about 2 months. I've trained in election comparative training in election management in India, in South Korea, and also have many matchmaking across the world. I've also been involved as an election observer in at least 21 countries in the globe. I've also trained different institutions, including electoral commissions, in elections management. So I'm very sound with electoral policy and electoral training and the operations of elections not only in Kenya but also in the region and comparative across the globe. I'm also all round because I've also managed political parties. I've engaged political parties back to back. Probably I'm among the very few Kenyans who are able to say that I know elections back to back, because I've worked right from when a person expresses interest to learn for elections up to the time the person is elected. I know the processes back to back, starting from expression of interest and then coming all the way to become an officer who have been elected in a particular position.